shape for the rest of the night. Yeah, there are some storms that are coming in from the north and west, but really not a lot of activity back there, and that is moving into an environment that's a bit more stable. So what we're starting to see now, and let me draw this out for you. Well, I wanted to zoom in a little tighter, and then we'll draw this little area out right here. You can almost see a little calmer area that's really starting to develop right there. We're going to see a little drier air begin to filter in, and that's going to help to stabilize things. But there's still a lot of instability, some juicy atmosphere that remains in northern Mississippi tonight. So really the dividing line, again, and this happens time and time again, it's the I-40 corridor. So if you're north of the I-40 corridor, I think you're in pretty good shape for the rest of the evening. If you're south of that I-40 corridor, we've still got the threat for some strong to severe storms coming into play between now and 10 o'clock tonight. And as I mentioned, again, we still have the severe thunderstorm watch in effect. I see Craighead County just removed from that. So I think the National Weather Service, Dyer County, you're now removed from that, as is Crockett County. You're removed from that. Gibson County, you're no longer in the severe thunderstorm watch. So yeah, a much better pattern emerging tonight. So Sagay, this is looking pretty good. What are you looking at over there? I see an exclamation mark. Do I need to be concerned about that?
No, I'm looking at some storm reports. I just saw a report of some egg-sized hail in Horn Lake, Mississippi. So
wow,
definitely some hail producers for sure with these storms, as we've been saying. And back across eastern Arkansas, the reports that I'm seeing are for wind damage. So we had those two wind damage reports in eastern Arkansas. You can see thunderstorm wind damage in Mark Tree, Arkansas. And then we had another report as well of some wind damage in that same area right around Tyronza. But most of the reports that I'm getting in are for hail. Notice hail reports in North Walls, Mississippi. Another one just to the south of that, just to the east of that, Horn Lake. That's the report that we got, that there could have been some egg-sized hail. That's some pretty big hail. And also some reports just to the east of that of some hail. So these cells have certainly been putting down a lot of heavy rain along with some hail, and all of this continuing to move off toward the south and east. So that's what you can expect if one of these pushes overhead for you. Heavy rainfall, hail, and there may be some gusty winds, but those reports have been far and few in between when it comes to gusty winds. Let's track some of this right now over eastern DeSoto County, where we still have a lot of heavy rainfall. You can see the indicators there that there's still some hail within this particular cell. 100% chance of hail, and the chance that it's severe hail is just about 60%. Now, here are some of the communities that will be dealing with this. Next 10 minutes, Lewisburg, Cochran, at just around 7:06. First alert to Ingram's Mill. It's going to be pushing towards you right around 7:10. Stonewall at 7:10 as well. Wakefield 7:17. Byhalia 7:17. Warsaw at 7:18. And Watson at 7:19. And again, likely to see some hail with this particular storm. Now we do still have, I think my system is kind of going in and out on me, but we continue to have these isolated cells. And yeah, it just went blank on me, Ron. So we're going to head back over to Ron, and we'll get this taken care of here shortly.
All right, let's go to there we go, back to the first alert Doppler radar. And technology, sometimes the best laid plans. Here we go. Let's, can you pop me up in front of that, Daisha? And let me track a few of these cells that are working through. Did you see that? I just kind of appeared on there, the magic of television. This is where all the activity is again, along and south of the I-40 corridor. We're starting to see communities removed from the severe thunderstorm watch, but all the activity tonight and the greater instability and dynamics for the stronger storms from Memphis, south, and east. A lot of very, very heavy rainfall in there. Let's zoom into the city of Memphis and Shelby County. Let's show you what we've got going on there, because we've got two active severe thunderstorm warnings. Although, right in the heart of the city, in the 240 loop, it's been nice, it's been mild, it has been dry. The southern portion of the city, from right around South Memphis through Whitehaven, even into Parkway Village, Germantown, Cordova, heavy rainfall. Collierville, you've seen your share of rain today, but dodging the strong to severe storms with the cells that are moving through there. And now the warning for southern Shelby County has now expired or has been canceled by the National Weather Service, but we've still got a couple of active warnings out there. So let's show you once again. Severe thunderstorm warning for Fayette, Marshall, Shelby County till 7:15 tonight. Then just to the south of that, DeSoto, Marshall, Tate County, that too until 7:15 tonight. Now, as we put a track on some of these cells, let's show you where they're going, because this one right here, I want to take a close look at that, and then I'm going to pop back into this one. That's really held together well just over the last 30 to 45 minutes and still producing a lot of lightning with it. This cell itself, this cell producing, let's see, about 10 strikes of lightning, not that impressive. And even, I'm going to look at spectrum width. This is turbulence within the atmosphere. There's a little bit right there around Collierville. And I bet if I take a look at the velocity on that, using the scope, there may be a little disturbance. Yeah, you kind of see it just to the north of Collierville. Not rotation, but some pretty strong wind. And what happens when you get very heavy rain coming down with these cells, and the rainfall rate pretty impressive right there, just to the north of Collierville. Look at that, just under 1.5 inches per hour. So as the rain comes down with this, let me clear this out of here. That rain comes down, then it just kind of hits the ground and spreads out a little bit. That can create your straight line wind damage. That can take down trees, power lines. I even had some fence damage yesterday with some wind that came through the area in East Memphis yesterday afternoon. So we are still looking at that cell moving on through Shelby County. Let's tell you what, let me put a track on this, because that's moving off to the south and southeast. Let's show you where that's going to go. I'll track it from the heavier precipitation here, the outer rim of that to the east, southeast. Moscow, that's coming your way. That's going to move into Rossville about 6:56, Southwest Elementary School 6:59, then to Stinson School 6:59, Hayes 7:02. Then we'll see this move into Reeves at 7:06, 7:08 before it gets into Moscow, then 7:09 into Lucas Church, 7:13 into Early Grove. So that is that cell. Let's put that into motion. Let's show you how that's moving and who's going to be impacted by that. It's moving along about 40 miles per hour. Looks like it's going to stay just to the north of Highway 72, but likely as it gets into, Benton County, it's probably going to cross south of that. So you'll start to see some heavier rain make its way into northern Benton County probably in the next 30 minutes or so. Now, let's take a look at the cell that's just to the south of that, because that one's been packing a punch for a while. And I now see, well, wait, no, the warning's still in effect for that. Yeah, it's just been adjusted. So we still have severe thunderstorm warning for this cell. Let's take a look at this. Severe thunderstorm warning, DeSoto, Marshall, Tate County. Shelby's been removed from this, but DeSoto, Marshall, Tate County, this is going to remain until 7:15. Let's put this into motion for you. Here we go. Put that into motion. Look at that activity. That's pushing south and east. It's come on through Hernando. You've got better weather, Hernando, and it's just about to clear 55, so a little better pattern coming there. But this thing's dropping some very heavy rain. It's also producing a lot of lightning. The rainfall rate with this, just to the east of 55, east of Hernando, just under 1.5 inches per hour. The potential for hail in there's maybe a little bit. Looked like it had a history of producing some hail just over 1 inch in diameter in the mid-level of that storm, not necessarily reaching the ground, but we have had reports in the area of egg-sized hail. So I'm still waiting to see the picture on that. I haven't gotten there yet, but a lot of very heavy rainfall. Now let's check out the turbulence or the wind with this. There's a little bit of turbulence right here, so you may be getting a little gusting wind right there along the leading edge of that precipitation. It should line up pretty well with that leading edge, yeah, right there. So as that comes on through, you get that little gust front right there. As that heavy rain comes out, you get a strong gust of wind. It's actually nice and cool too, but very strong gust of wind. The lightning in this cell, let's see, because this thing was a lightning maker earlier. 64 strikes of lightning just within that. Now, let me move this back just a little bit, and then I'm going to put a track on it from that heavier precipitation. Here we go, right there. So let's track it from here, south and east. Cockram School, 659, 658. 659 into Ingram's Mill. Then we'll see it move on into Wakefield at 706, 710 into Wall Hill, Orion 714, then into Mariana at 717, then into Hillcrest Academy 718, 724 before it gets into Galena. So that is that cell, and that's moving off to the south and to the southeast. Now, let me clear that out of here. Let's zoom out a little bit because there's another storm that's just to the southeast of that. This is where we're starting to see the convergence of more activity this evening. So now the next cell I want to track is this one that's moving on through southeastern Marshall County. Now that's about to move out of the coverage area, but wow, this thing itself has got a lot of activity in it. First of all, severe thunderstorm warning till 7:30, Benton, Marshall, Pontotoc, and Union counties. Now let's talk about how much lightning that cell is producing. 90 strikes just within that box right there. The hail potential with this, yep, whoa, look at that, south of 22. Just over 1.5 inches in size. So, Gail, I'm going to ask you to confirm that if you've got your computer up in just a sec. Let me put a track on this quickly because that's going to drop a lot of very heavy rain. Oh, and the rainfall rate with this, let's check it out. Now, hail core right there, okay? So just to the east of that, it's coming down at just over 1 inch per hour. So a lot of very heavy rain, a lot of gusting wind. I would imagine you're going to get that strong gust of wind just outside of that as it's coming on through. But let's put a track on it and track it on through this polygon. And again, I'm tracking from the leading edge of the heavier precipitation. So what you're going to get with this, first the gust of wind, then you're going to get some light precipitation, then that heavier rain is going to move in, and that should arrive in Cornersville at 7:04. 7:07 into Myrtle, then Small Coast, 7:13. New Albany, that's coming your way at 7:21. Outside our coverage area, but we still have some folks watching there in Union Hill at 7:25. Halltown, 7:30. 7:38 into Reese and 7:40 before it moves on into Blue Springs. Now, that's that cell. Let's check it out because we've got even more cells that are working their way through, and I want to pay attention to what's coming out of eastern Arkansas. But first, let's zoom in and check out what's going on in Panola and Lafayette County, where we've had some active weather as well. That cell, a couple of them still churning there. Let me let's take a look because look at this. We've got several warnings in here. First, let me do the smaller polygon. This one for Lafayette and Panola till 7:15, so about another 14 minutes on that. The one just to the north of you for Lafayette, Marshall, Panola, and Quitman until 7:30 this evening. And oh, back to the west, we'll take a look at this one in just a moment. That is going to be for Coahoma, Phillips, Quitman, Tunica County until 7:30 tonight. So with that, let's get this out of here. Let's start doing a little tracking. Let's show you what these storms are doing first of all. Let me clear this off of here. Now, let's take a look at lightning. I tell you what, I'm just going to take this whole cell. I really think that's just one polygon itself. That's just me. Anyway, 79 strikes of lightning, now 80 strikes of lightning. Let's check out the potential for hail in there. Oh, wow. Right there around Batesville. 1.2, just at about 1.25 inches in size. What about some wind? Let's check it out with the spectrum width. We ought to be getting some pretty good turbulence. Yeah, right there around Batesville. We get some pretty strong wind coming to the south and east. Looks like it is along and east of 55. What about rainfall rate? Pretty heavy, I would assume. As we come back here and check it out, these are areas likely where we have the hail. What I'm going to tap into is right here. That's coming down at about 1.33, an inch and a third, and then just to the northwest of that, 1.13. So one of the things that's concerning is the potential for flash flooding right here in this area. So the potential for flash flooding in Batesville and for a large swath of Panola County, as a matter of fact, is certainly there. So we want to watch that closely. And if you don't have to be out, stay home. Just let these storms pass and move on through tonight. Hopefully most folks are at home and hunkered down either way. So I think I'm going to put a couple of tracks on this. First, let me just show you the general movement of it. Because look at this, it's just kind of moving off to the east. You see, it wants to go to the south and east, but then it's kind of being, the upper level winds are giving a little nudge to the east. So what I'm going to do is basically just track that to the east. And let's do this. Sergey, I'm going to come to you in just 1 second and see what you're checking out over there, because I've seen some pretty interesting movement on the Lynx computer this evening. Let's see, Taylor 720, then 723, it'll move into Abbeville. Ole Miss softball complex, 728, then 730 into Oxford, 730 into the University of Oxford campus, should get into Abbeville at 738. Kiel 746, and then it'll move into Coppola at 749. Now that is that cell. By the way, notice this little area right back here. You see that? I tell you what, let me zoom into it just a little bit. Got a little eddy in the atmosphere right there. You can almost see it. It's kind of moving along so quickly. You just get a little spin in the atmosphere. That's not tornadic, but there is certainly a little spin within that. As I put the scope on that, we should see the difference in wind. Yeah, right there, that little area right there. It's not severe, not tornadic, but yeah, a little bit of a rotation. Probably some ominous looking clouds in the sky at the very least on that. So now let me go back and let's take a look at what is just to the west, because I've got another severe thunderstorm warning. That's for eastern Arkansas. And look at this cell. That one's pretty impressive in and of itself. Let me move this into the center of the screen here. Let's zoom in on that. Even the radar's having a tough time depicting what's going on here. It's having a difficult time interpolating what color to display on here. So I think we probably got some hail in there. Let's check it out. Oh yeah, just to the south of Marvell. Looks like it's just under an inch and a half. You may even find, yeah, right there about an inch and a half per hour. Also, rainfall rates, I'm gonna go just outside the hail core itself, coming down at just under an inch per hour. Just to the east of that, however, we're getting rain, again, just under an inch per hour. So the potential for flooding from Marvell south and east to around Briars Point, that is significant right now. So rainfall rate's pretty impressive there. Let's put a track on this. I'm going to back it up just a little bit. Oh, by the way, our severe thunderstorm warning on this cell is going to go until 7:30. We are looking at, how many strikes of lightning in this? I don't think I can bring it out from there, but I'll check out the lightning on it in just a second. Let's put a track on it right now, show you where it's going, because we've got calm conditions in advance of it, but from this area right here to the east, I'm going to move that almost due east. Session 706 or 708, 716 into Helena, 722 into Matagorda, then 725 into Jonestown. It's going to move into Sledge right around 734, and it should get into Hinchcliffe at 741, Pleasant Grove 746, and 747 into Crenshaw. So Crenshaw, you've got one cell moving through, you got another one coming your way in right around 40 minutes. So that's what we're looking at there. So, Gay, you've got a really good shot of all the activity. Anything you're focused on or watching closely right now?
Well, I'm focused on those skid markers. That's the Storm Center identification tracker. And as I click on them all, they're all showing me that potential for hail within many of these cells. And we're talking over an inch, especially in many spots in North Mississippi. Let's click on one, for instance, in western DeSoto County. You can see severe hail, about 80% chance, but 100% chance that there's hail within this particular cell. You head down toward the south and east, and this one that's making its way over the river right now, 100% once again that there is hail within this. Severe hail, just about 60%, and even more as we head toward Phillips County in eastern Arkansas, that cell that Ron was touching on. We're talking about, once again, 100% chance that there is hail, and we're talking the hail size up to 1.75 inches. So these storms have a history of producing some good size hail, and that continues with these cells that we're seeing that's moving into the area right now, or already in the area. The one over Panola County, 1.25 inches hail is possible within that particular cell, and the same one that's in southern Marshall County, that hail size estimated by the radar, Ron, 2 inches.
Wow. By the way, I want to point out, Sergey, the BTI that you saw in there was very low. That's the Barron Tornado Indicator. And on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest threat, that's coming in at about a 2.8. So that's an indication to us. Cells may have a little bit of rotation. They're not tornadic in nature. These are what we call hailers. These are hailers, heavy rain and hail. And while Sergey was talking about that, new warning was just issued for Fayette, Haywood, Shelby, and Tipton County. So far, Shelby County's really gotten clipped on really the four corners of the county, and nothing in Midtown. As a matter of fact, Daisha, I'm not sure if you still have that Midtown camera. I want to bring that up when you get a shot, or when you get a second. I want to take a look at that. So let me know when that's available, because I want to, I think we've got Conrad on deck right now. So Conrad's looking up the High Five camera in Midtown, and I want to show you what folks here in the city are seeing, while elsewhere in the Action News 5 coverage area, we've got a lot of activity. And just on this view, I'm going to just do this screen right here. Look at this. 785 lightning strikes. And as a matter of fact, I didn't even get that cell that's right there. Here we go. Let's do that again. Let's take it all the way to here. Should be a little more. 907 strikes of lightning. So we got this little cell that's working its way here. That's pushing to the southeast. We've got these cells down here. These are pushing to the southeast. You get south of Memphis, these storms moving in this direction, this one moving here, and then this one moving out. But what's going on right here in the city of Memphis and Shelby County right now, inside the 240 loop? It's dry as a bone. And look outside from our High Five camera. This is what we're seeing in the distance. Yeah. Some clouds. Union Avenue's dry this afternoon. There is going to be more rain that will move into the area, but I think for the most part, the city of Memphis and Shelby County will dodge the strong to severe storms that have been really impacting other parts of eastern Arkansas, specifically northern Mississippi this afternoon. But as we go back to our first alert Doppler radar right now, look just to our south and east. Look at that little cell, or south and west, I should say. That is just missing the city of Memphis and Shelby County. No warning for that, but that's packing a punch as it's getting ready to clip or move on through to County. And just this cell alone is producing 178 strikes of lightning. A lot of lightning in there, likely some hail. I'm going to track it. I anticipate a warning for that one. I think that's moving to the south and southeast. It's going to move into an area that's already under a warning. We'll take a look at those in a moment. But this cell, this is the one I'm looking at right now. This one is in western DeSoto County, northern Tunica County. It's moving off to the east. South Haven 712. That should move in at 7. That's moving in there right now. Jago in about 717. Hernando 725. Hernando, this will be your third round, I do believe. Then Lewisburg 733. Byhalia 743. Coldwater 745, 752 before it moves into Wakeville, and then to 804 it will move on into Marianna. So that is that one cell. It is not warned for at this time, but it is certainly holding together, and nonetheless it's dropping a lot of rain, maybe even some hail in there. Let's check that out. Indications of hail right around the northern portion of that. That was right there along the Mississippi River. That was coming in at about 1 3/4 inches in size. The rainfall rate itself, pretty impressive. It's now moved right quickly off to the east, but just under 1 inch per hour. About to approach South Haven. That's coming down at about 1 inch, just under 1.5 inches per hour. So that's what I'm looking at there. Let me give South Haven your specific first alert. Let me track that from right there, that heavier precip. I'm going to track that along and north of the loop there. And yeah, there's the warning just issued. South Haven, 715 right now. 717 before it gets into Baptist DeSoto. 720 into Jago. It will move into Maywood, 729, Olive Branch, 731, 734 in Olive Branch, and then 735 into Fairhaven, 738 into Miller. So we were on top of that storm, and the National Weather Service just issuing the warning for it. That warning now for Crittenden, DeSoto, Marshall, and Tate. That is going to go until 8 p.m. tonight. And then just to the south and east of that, we got this other cell that's still holding together. Pretty impressive. Right now, that is moving on through Tate County, northeastern Tate County, 97 strikes of lightning in there. That is about to approach Holly Springs and impact that community. Looks like some hail in there just to the north and east of Senatobia, about 1.5 inches in size. Now let's go back, put a track on that cell itself. By the way, the warning for that cell, that is going to expire in just a bit here. Let me hit it there. That is for, here we go, DeSoto, Marshall, Tate till 7:15. I think they're likely going to extend that. Let me back this up just a little bit and give you your first alert on where that's going. This again is going to be another training echoes. We call these training echoes. This setup, it's just one cell coming right behind another. This cell moves on through, another one forms behind it, this cell comes in behind it, and it just continues. And when you get that, the potential for flooding and flash flooding increases exponentially simply because these high precip supercell storms, and that's really what they are, high precipitation supercells, they're just training one right over the other, dropping a lot of rain, and that sets up the scenario for flooding in those areas. So the warning is now expired for this cell, but it shows no signs of weakening. I want to go ahead and put a track on it because this is going to come right in behind another severe thunderstorm warned cell as that moves to the south and east. New Albany, you're about to get hit with some very heavy rain. Into Marlin, 717, 723 into Holly Springs, then 734 will move into Lake Center. We'll see that get into Potts Camp at 740, Abbeville 744, Hickory Flat at 750, then Myrtle at 758, and then 802, this will move into Smallco. So that's when that cell moves in. That's going to follow on in behind another cell that just came through, dropped a lot of rain. That's going to be followed by another cell that will follow in behind that. And there's potential for this cell that's right back here to also hold together and come right in behind that. So it's one right after the other, after the other, after the other. So a little flooding there. Now, let me go ahead and track this cell and show you what's, let me hit this real quick because I don't think I've even taken a look at this cell for Coahoma and Tunica County. Yeah, we've got this severe thunderstorm warning that extends there. We had a really long polygon earlier with this. This cell we were watching right there around Helena, it looks like they have condensed the polygon now. Coahoma, Phillips, Quitman, Tunica County until 7:30. 7:30 this evening. Really heavy rain seems to be the biggest issue with this. Just to the north of Friars Point, it's coming down at just over 1.5 inches per hour. There is some indication of hail in there. At one point to the west of Helena, looks like this cell was producing hail right around 1.33 inches in size, but heavy rain is really the main threat with this. And let's go ahead and put a track on this activity and show you where that's going to go. It's going to move off to, it's really moving east-southeast. So Fletcher Field, 719, then into Matagorda, 720, 721 into Jonestown, Falcon, 734, Sledge, 737, 741 into Marks, 741 into Quitman County Hospital, and 745 before it moves into Delta. Now, another cell that I'm watching, let me zoom out just a little bit because I think we're going to see more of this activity come into play. But this was the cell I wanted to track that's about to enter Cross County. That cell, not severe. The atmosphere is pretty worked over here in northeast Arkansas, but that cell is still holding together pretty good. And as a matter of fact, it's producing a pretty good amount of lightning, 172 strikes of lightning in there. What about hail potential with it? Maybe some small hail, really not sufficient right there along the Arkansas River. It's the rainfall for the most part, very heavy rain associated with this. So even right there, look at that, coming down over 2 inches per hour. So let's put a track on this. Let's show you where it's going to go over the next few minutes, because this is going to bring heavy rain into an area that's already had more than its share of heavy precipitation. That will move into the city of Memphis and Shelby County. So it's going to move into Waldenburg at about 721. It'll move into Wynn, 737, Colt, 741. Then it's going to move into Parkin at 755, 804 into Earl, Proctor, 840, 815, 830 into West Memphis, and then into Walls at about 839. Let me zoom out just a little bit. Let's give you a first alert on when this is going to move into Memphis and Shelby County, because I do think this is going to impact the city of Memphis. As a matter of fact, as I put this into motion, yeah, now it is weakening. You can even see it just the last couple of frames. It's weakening a little bit, but I think it's going to hold together long enough to likely make its way into the Memphis metro. So let me put another track on that, and I'll just track it from the broader portion of that cell, south and east. So if that continues, it'll move into Memphis at about 8:43. So that's a look at the big picture, what's going on around. Sagay, you're looking at a little rotation. What do you got?
This is in Tunica County for that cell that you touched on just a little bit ago. Radar indicating some rotation and some of that, as well as some hail that you can see as we, and
There it went again.
yeah.
We've had some issues with that. We're going to have to contact our vendor on that. All right, I'll come back to you in a moment. So let's take a look at that. By the way, just outside our coverage area, I'm not sure if I can get to it. Let me show you this, because there is a tornado warning. This looks like it's right there around Hardin County. Whoops. Tell you what, let me move this over here, pan back this way. And then, let's take a look at this. Here we go, info. Now this is not in the Action News 5 coverage area, but we do have a tornado warning for Lawrence and Wayne County. That's going to go until 7:30 this evening. But right now, in the Action News 5 coverage area, it's all about severe thunderstorms, and that's what we're dealing with here across the Mid-South. Dyer County, you're in the clear. Lauderdale County, you're in the clear. Crockett County, you're fine. I think Mississippi County, the majority of Mississippi County, you're fine. The southeastern extreme southern portion of Mississippi County, northern Crittenden County, you're still within the risk, the margin of risk, but really the greatest concentration of storms right now is converging into northern Mississippi, and that's where it's going to remain. I have no idea why it did that, but that is where we're going to find the potential for the stronger storms for the remainder of the evening tonight into northern Mississippi. But we're likely to still see a few echoes coming in from the northwest and to the southeast. Can't rule out a couple of more showers and storms in the city of Memphis and Shelby County, but I do believe our severe weather threat has diminished for the city, and a much more tranquil pattern will emerge. However, there's still going to be some more precipitation that moves through that may bring some loud thunder, some loud lightning and some loud thunder into the area. But right now, I think for the most part, northern Mississippi is ground zero for the stronger storms tonight. We're going to watch those closely, especially as we take a look at the winds, the instability, and the potential for any spin-ups that may be there. But right now, my greater concern with this is the threat for some intense lightning and flooding, as well as the hail threat. So just to reiterate, let's go through one more time. We still got a severe thunderstorm warning, Fayette, Haywood, Shelby, and a portion of Tipton County, southeastern Tipton County, under a severe thunderstorm warning for another 7 minutes. It'll be interesting to see if they continue this warning. There's still a lot of very heavy rainfall in there, but I don't see any indication of hail. 1.59 inches per hour. What about strong wind with this? We'll take a look at the potential for turbulence. Not really there. Velocity, this is an indication of rotation. I do see a little, let me zoom into that little area right there, because there's a little something. It's right here around southeastern Tipton County. Looks like it's just to the west of Mason. It's not really ominous. Let me throw the scope on this. And I really don't think we're looking at anything in the way of a tornado threat here. No, we're not. And that is primarily, I think there may be a little bit of a wet microburst there. In other words, what we're talking about is the rainfall is so heavy coming out of this cell that there's some indication of a little rotation right there. So this is trying to rotate. Notice you got a little inflow notch right there, but it's not tornadic at all. So this is definitely not tornadic. But again, maybe a little hail to the north of Mason and the potential for some strong gusting winds in and around it. But we're not looking at tornadic storms, or at least the potential for a tornado within this cell itself. But I do believe there's probably some very strong wind in there. As a matter of fact, Sergey, you're zoomed into that. You're back up and running. What's the BTI on that? Barron tornado indicator.
It's at 2.7 at the moment.
Okay, 2.7 on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being the highest threat, very, very low.
Yeah, that's right, Ron. That is pretty low. But again, as we have been seeing with a lot of these cells, indications of some hail in there. 100% chance there's hail, severe hail, about a 70% chance. And the radar estimates that hail size at 1.5 inches. You can see where it's going to be tracking. It's moving due east, and places that will be dealing with this: Charleston at 7:37, Mason same time, Gaylor at 7:39. If you're in Keeling, look out for a lot of heavy rainfall. It's expected to move overhead for you at 7:37. So just about another 12 minutes from now. Birds Bower 7:43, Stanton at 7:45, Antioch at 7:51. And again, we're talking some heavy rain and that potential for some hail, some pretty good size hail. We've been getting reports of anywhere from pea to quarter to egg size hail, even golf ball size hail recently reported near Oxford. So again, that's what we've been seeing a great bit of when it comes to these storms. As I take a zoom out, and again, I'll click on what we call these skip markers, Storm Center identification trackers. And here's the one for the cell that's in DeSoto County. There's several there, but the one that's in the northernmost part of the county. And you can see there, hail, 90%. That hail size on that one, just about 1/2 inch. It's tracking toward the east. So Hernando, you're going to be dealing with this at about 7:40, Bright at 7:49, Pleasant Hill at 7:55. Now, the cell that I was looking at before that had some indications of rotation. That marker has since gone away, so I don't think we're looking at any rotation there at this point, but still a pretty significant cell that's producing heavy rainfall, 100% chance of hail, severe hail, about 60%, and that hail size within that storm in Tunica County, north central section, that's about 1.25 inches. This is moving toward the east as well. Lost Lake, get ready, 7:39 for you. First alert to Trinity. It will be moving in your area at 7:51. Cub Lake, approximately 7:55. Eudora at 7:56. As we move down a little bit toward Aiken, just north of Aiken, tracking that cell as well. You can see there, once again, severe hail about 60%, but hail 90% chance that there's some hail within that. The size about 1.25 inches. This is moving off toward the east. Chulahoma, 7:39 for you. Blackwater at 7:49. Laws Hill at 7:49 as well. Still seeing those cells around Oxford. That's where we got some report of some good sized hail there. That's now east of Oxford, making its way toward eastern sections of Lafayette County. But again, hail has been the theme throughout the day, along with heavy rain. Hail size for the cell that's just to the north or just south of Abbeville. That one producing about 1/2 inch radar estimated hail within that storm. Let me take a view, a closer, well, you can see a bigger view, I should say, for the entire area, and still getting quite a bit of lightning, especially in that cell that is in the western section of DeSoto County. But in our entire screen, the lightning strikes over 800. So again, still these cells are producing heavy rain, hail, as well as frequent lightning, as you can see here. But the most likely that we're seeing on the board is for the cell that is just to the west of Hernando and back across portions of Banks and Green River. That's where we're seeing a lot of lightning activity, and we continue to see still a lot of heavy rainfall. The good news, Ron, is that we're approaching sunset, so hopefully that will help wind these storms down a bit.
Yeah, and by the way, I just want to reiterate, we're with you tonight on our digital platforms, and new technology today gives us the advantage of being on several different platforms, especially when we are dealing with weather that is certainly disruptive and severe, but not life-threatening. So that's why we made the decision today to be with you on WMC Action News 5 Plus, which is 5.5 on our digital channel if you get your TV from rabbit ears or an antenna. We're also on Amazon Fire, Roku, Apple TV. You can find us on the Action News 5 Facebook page and on YouTube. So many different platforms, but if you're right here in the city of Memphis, where there's little of anything going on, and even parts of Crittenden County, north up to Dyer County, you can watch your favorite programming on Action News 5 and NBC tonight without being interrupted there. We are running a stream across the channel, directing across the TV screen on TV, alerting people to the fact that we are here, we are tracking tonight, but being able to have this new technology, it helps us to not interfere with your regularly scheduled programming, which is a good thing. But I got to tell you, tonight I hope everybody's paying attention because we've got a lot of active weather in the area. It is a first alert weather day. We are under a severe thunderstorm watch. As a matter of fact, much of the Action News 5 coverage area, Memphis, Shelby County, still included in this. It's going to go until 10 o'clock tonight. Some northern counties have been removed. Missouri Boot Heel, much of northern Arkansas, Dyer County, you've been removed from this, as has Crockett County, but the rest of the coverage area still remains, although I think the greater threat for the strong to severe storms is along and south of the I-40 corridor, and that is certainly where we're seeing the activity this evening. But we still want to keep a close eye on the storms that are developing back to the west, because that will push to the east and southeast, and that will likely move through the Memphis metro. I don't think it's going to prompt a severe thunderstorm warning or it be severe in nature, but a lot of thunder, a lot of lightning with it. In the meantime, northern Mississippi, that's where the bulk of the activity it can be found tonight. And right there from the Mississippi-Tennessee state line all the way to the Alabama line, that's where we're finding strong storms. So south of I-40 in eastern Arkansas, all the way into the shoals of Alabama, and several active warnings at this time. So let's walk right through them, shall we? We'll begin to the west and make our move to the east. First, let's take a look at this entire cluster, because I want to show you the lightning that these storms are producing just right here, just in this area right here. We've got 816 strikes of lightning. Now we've got 1, 2, 3, I think I see, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 active severe thunderstorm warning. Another just to the northwest of that coming out of eastern Arkansas. So a lot of activity tonight. This first one, just to the west of the Mississippi River. It is for Lee, Phillips, and crosses east into Tunica County. That's going to be in place tonight until 8 p.m. The next severe thunderstorm warning we have is for the cell that's moving through DeSoto and Tate County. That is for DeSoto, Marshall, Tate, and Tunica County. That too will remain until 8 o'clock tonight. Then the next storm we have in place just to the east, this impacting primarily Marshall County, but Benton, Lafayette, Marshall, and Tate County under a severe thunderstorm warning until 7:45 tonight. Then just to the southeast of that, just outside our coverage area, Lee, Pontotoc, and Union County until 8:15 tonight. And then we still have a couple of warnings for Panola and Lafayette County. So Calhoun, Lafayette, Pontotoc County until 7:45 tonight. There's another cell that's just to the south of that. That is going to be until 8 p.m. tonight. So we've got those active warnings in place. And now just to our north and west, we've got 2 active warnings, north and northwest. One for eastern Arkansas. Let me hit that one and show you where that's who's impacted by that. That's for Cross and St. Francis counties. That goes until 8:15 tonight. Then another one that's just about to cross I-40. This is for Fayette, Hardeman, Haywood. You are under this until, and also Tipton County. Oh yeah, the southeast corner of Tipton County. You're under this until 8 o'clock tonight. So these are the communities that are dealing with precipitation, the stronger storms. These are the active warnings we have in place tonight. Let me clear this out. Let's put it into motion. Let's show you where they are now and then give you an idea of where they're going and the direction they're moving. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. Let me pan down. Whoops. Now I want to zoom in. This is a very tricky little piece of technology here. So now with that, let's put this into motion, and you can see all these storms pushing south and southeast. So we've got these storms, and this little cluster is really starting to fire up here. And one of the things I want to point out, look at this little area right here. Outflow boundaries, all right? Outflow boundaries, that's a thing. Let me show you this. NexRad imagery. Let me put this up here. So you get a little storm that will develop. And in this case, we saw this storm right here develop, all right? Let me put that into motion for you. And that created a little outflow. Look at this storm that developed right there. You see those storms? That just developed right there. So basically, we've got winds coming out of this storm, intersects with moisture that's in the atmosphere to create another band of storms and another band of heavy downpours. And as a matter of fact, if you spent any time outside today, you may have noticed how muggy it is. That's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. Well, now we've got the trigger mechanism coming through here, and that trigger mechanism being the cold front, that's extracting all the moisture from the atmosphere. And that's what's contributing to these downpours, to the stronger storms, the hail that we have also seen. And we've had some pretty impressive pictures of hail in and around the area, especially around parts of Lafayette County this afternoon and evening. So that's what's producing all that. We've had all the elements in place. Some instability from the daytime heating, the moisture, a southerly flow today. We spent the day in the warm sector. That's an area between a warm front and a cold front. And then we get all of this now with the cold front pushing through and moving to the southeast. Well, that's triggering the storms. And notice back to our northwest, a little drier air. So we're going to get a taste of that later tonight, but I think we're going to continue to deal with these storms from now until about 9 or 10 o'clock before they finally move out of here. So we're looking at about another hour to 90 minutes before this gets on out of here and allows for a clearer, calmer day tomorrow. And as a matter of fact, Sergey, I believe we're looking at sunshine tomorrow. At least that's that was your forecast earlier, I do believe, right? Tell me yes.
Yes, it is, and thankfully it's remaining the same.
Do you
We're
want to
gonna see
give
a lot
a
of
heads
sunshine
up, a
tomorrow.
first alert on next week, though, because it looks a little active for next week as
Yeah,
well, huh?
it looks very active next week. The good thing is, like Ron mentioned, tomorrow we do get to dry out. We'll see a good bit of sunshine, but we do have daily rain chances. That'll start Tuesday, and it may even go into the weekend. The good thing is, as we head toward the end of the week, the models do look to be trending a little bit drier. So we'll see if that holds, but as of now, looks like our driest day for the next 7 days, Ron, it's going to be tomorrow.
All right, so the sun will come out tomorrow, as it's said. But right now, I want to do a little tracking. Let's start to our west. Let's put some tracks on these cells that are making their way through. First of all, once again, a quick overview. We have a severe thunderstorm warning. This is in effect right now for Cross and St. Francis County. That is going to go until 8:15 tonight. We have had some indication of hail within this. Looks like it's small for the most part, but right there on the Cross County line, right around or just under an inch in diameter, and that's in the mid-levels of the storm. The rainfall rate itself has been pretty impressive with this as well. Just to the west of Wynne, Arkansas, coming down at about 3/4 of an inch per hour. Just to the north of Wynne, close to an inch per hour. Now let's put a track on this and show you where it's going over the next few minutes, because this cell moving off to the east, and then so it looks like this could, I'm going to go ahead and track it on through Memphis. Let's go ahead and get a new track on that, because it looks like it could be moving into Memphis at about 8:42. So there's your first alert, Memphis. About an hour away before this cell moves in, and that's based on a speed of 40 miles per hour. Now, Proctor, Arkansas, or Parkin, Arkansas, 750. It's going to move into Earl at 759, then into Proctor at 811. We'll see that move into West Memphis at 824, moves into Memphis at 842, 850 into Bartlett, Germantown at 856, and then at 908, it will move into Fisherville. The big question is, will this cell itself still be severe in nature? I don't think so. I think the atmosphere that's in advance of this is a little more stabilized. It's also showing some signs of weakening just within the last couple of frames. Yeah, a little bit of that holding together right there. So just to the south of Wynne. But I think overall, that's going to be nothing more than a rainmaker over the next few minutes. So now let's move along. Let's take a look at what else is out there. I want to go to the east, and let's take a look at this cell that's tracking right here along the Haywood-Fayette County line. And again, severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 8 o'clock tonight. Fayette, Hardeman, and Haywood County. Fayette, Hardeman, Haywood County until 8 o'clock tonight. The hail indication, not really impressive. There was a little bit just as it was coming through Tipton County. Looks like it was around 3/4 of an inch or less. What about wind with this? Spectrum width, that shows us where turbulence is in the atmosphere. We can certainly see a little bit of it right there just to the north of Somerville, but nothing really significant. The rainfall rate with this, impressive, but confined to a small area, right around an inch per hour. Now let's put a track on this and show you, whoops, let me go back to next rad. And then let's put a track on this, moving to the east, southeast at about 40 miles per hour. Tell you what, I'm going to zoom in just a little tighter on this before I track it. Let's zoom in just a little tighter, because that is a small cell for the most part. Now, let's go back and put a track on this. Here we go. I'm going to track it from there, south and east. Bolivar, that's likely going to clip you at the very least. So Miller, 744. Clover Garden School, 748. Then it moves into Fayette Corners, 748, 755. It'll move into Whiteville Elementary School area, neighborhood. Then Whiteville at 756, Tune 809, 811 into Bolivar, 811 into Bolivar Community Hospital. As I've mentioned many times before, we put schools, we put hospitals in our tracks simply because many people know where they are in proximity to a school, to a hospital. This just helps you identify when and where, or where that is in relationship to where you are. So I want you to know that. That's why we put the schools in there, just to help give any sort of landmark or identifying factor that we can. So that's what we try to include in all of our tracks. So that's what we're looking at there with that cell. Now let's take a look at what's going on down in northern Mississippi, because this is where all the activity is this evening. And you can see it all moving off to the east-southeast and moving along at a pretty good clip, but really started to converge. This area right here. And what's going to happen, I think, as we see all of this come together right here, we're going to see our severe weather characteristics diminish, but we're going to see the potential for flooding increase tremendously, especially along and south of Highway 22. So folks in Lafayette County, I want you to be aware that the potential for flash flooding exists for you this afternoon, because you've had a lot of heavy rain coming through, and now just to your north and west, there's more rain that's converging over you, and then you've got these cells that are coming into play, and I think we're likely going to see more activity coming in from the east. So all of this could be converging right there along and south of 278 and south of Highway 22. Now, that's a look at that. Let's get a look at the real-time view and the severe thunderstorm warnings that are out there. I'm going to start from the west and work our way to the east. So here we go. Let me begin with this cell that's right here right now. And this is the one that's starting to impact Helena, or really just now beginning to move north of Helena. Let me zoom in just a little bit on that, because there's a lot of activity out here today. Let's see here. I say today, it's already stretched into the evening. So this is the cell I'm looking at right now. Severe thunderstorm warning. This cell now until 8 o'clock, Lee, Phillips, Tunica counties. Heavy rain. It's also producing a tremendous amount of lightning. Look at that. Doesn't even show. Let me get that out of there. Here we go. One more time. Let me show that lightning counter. 83 strikes of lightning. And by the way, you see these little strikes of lightning right here, just outside of the cell itself? Look, even to the north, those are called bolts from the blue. A lightning strike can occur up to 10 miles outside the core of a thunderstorm. That's why we say when thunder roars, go indoors. So let's say here's the core of the storm right there. Just to the north, look at that, 10 miles away. We're getting lightning strike indications. Look at this, 10 miles to the east of it, even 11 miles out. We're getting indications of lightning strikes there. So lightning can strike. It may be sunny and blue where you are, but if you can hear thunder, that means that you are within proximity to be struck by lightning. So lightning, the second most deadly natural phenomenon, flooding being the first. So that's why it is imperative that you always go indoors. Make sure your children know that. Make sure everyone adheres to that. When there is thunder, there's lightning, and it can strike outside the core of the storm. We're seeing that over here into DeSoto and Tate County as well. Lightning occurring outside the core of the storm. So it's a very dangerous situation. So here's what we're looking at. There's my lesson now. Let me move on. I got into my dad mode there for just a moment. Let me move on. I want to put a track on this, show you where this is going to go within the next couple of minutes. Clear this out of here. Let's put the track. It's moving off to the east-southeast, and I'm going to track it outside the polygon because that is still a potent little cell. It wouldn't surprise me. Let's take it on through Sardis Lake. Wouldn't surprise me if they extended the warning for that as well. So Savage, 751. Crenshaw, that's going to move through at 759. Then 803 into Crockett. Senatobia, 813. 817 into Como. Sardis, 825. Then into Glenville, 833. 840, it will move into Techville. So that's the cell there. Again, that cell, that is severe thunderstorm warning, Lee, Phillips, Tunica County until 8 o'clock tonight. Now let's clear this off. Let's move a little more to the east and let's track a couple of more cells that are working. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here and show you this cell. This is the one that's really impacting a good portion of northwest Mississippi along and west of 55. This also has a lot of lightning in it too. And as a matter of fact, just within that, let me track it a little farther from the south, because within that cell right there, 156 strikes of lightning. That's an indication there's likely some hail. The higher the lightning count, the more likely there is a little bit of static electricity being produced as a result of ice crystals. And look, we're seeing a couple of distinct areas right there in northern Tunica County, just over 1.25 inches. Right there on the Tate-DeSoto County line, just over 1.5 inches per hour. That's going to also produce a lot of heavy rain, because something to keep in mind, as those large hailstones fall through the atmosphere, they melt. Friction and the warming as they get a little closer to the surface, those two things come into play. It melts that hailstone, so that precipitate, that liquid, it's got to go somewhere. It falls, and that produces heavier rainfall. So we can get some impressive rainfall rates. And look at that, 1.75 inches per hour right there along 55, just to the south of Hernando. I'll put this into motion for you. That is moving to the south and to the southeast. Looks like a little outflow from this cell here, now catching up with this cell here, and all of this converging and moving in that direction. That means that's going to produce a lot of very heavy rain within the next few minutes for a handful of counties there. So let's track it, shall we? We got the severe thunderstorm warning. Has a new warning just been on top of that? I think so. Let me see. These are coming out quick. Yeah, this is going to go until 8:30. So DeSoto, Panola, Tate, Tunica until 8:30. The original warning was going to go until 8 o'clock. So now this has been extended. DeSoto, Panola, Tate, Tunica, Marshall County, you've been removed from this, but DeSoto, Panola, Tate, Tunica County now until 8:30 tonight. So that warning now extended. Let's put a track on it. And I tell you what, kind of tough to track this. I'm just going to track it from here all the way south and east, because that's the direction it's moving. There we go. Not a great track on that, but this is a general time. Your first alert, Como 7:56, Mariana 8:01, then Holly Springs 8:08, moves into Lake Center at 8:20, then into 8:26, gets into Potts Camp. We'll see it move into Oxford 8:35, 8:44 to Lowry, then on into Blue Mountain at 8:45. So that is that cell. And now, just in this area, we have 3 active severe thunderstorm warnings. But that's not all, because there's more. There's a lot more. Sagay, if you see something that catches your eye, don't hesitate to interrupt me. I'm on a roll over here with tracking, but I'm relying on you to keep a close eye on that first alert Doppler radar. So now, let's take a look at this cell. Here's the one I want to take a look at now. This is for this cell right here north of Oxford. Let's talk about the lightning strikes in there, because that is definitely producing some intense lightning this evening. 241 strikes within that cell. 241 strikes. What about hail? I'm betting there's some big hail in there. Yeah, it just came across the north part of Sardis Lake, the north point of Sardis Lake. Look at that. Right around 1.5 inches. So over 1 inch in size. Again, we're hitting that at about 3,000 feet. So as it falls to the surface, it is shrinking in size, but allowing for heavier precipitation around that. Also intense lightning. We check out the rainfall rates in there. It also increases the potential for flash flooding. And that's coming down at just under 2 inches per hour, maybe a little skewed by the fact that there is some hail in there, but I think for the most part, very heavy rain and probably some marble-sized hail hitting in there. Let's put this into motion for you, then we'll put a track on it. There we go. So that too converging just to the north of Oxford, really starting to come together right there, holding together as well. So a lot going on in this area right here. So I think this is likely going to turn into a very heavy rainmaker, because this is cooling the atmosphere in advance of it. But this is still holding together, but I think it's really going to turn into a very heavy rainmaker within the next few minutes. But let's put a track on it anyway. So here we go, south and east. This is going to come right over areas that have just experienced torrential rain, increasing the flood threat tremendously. Etta, 7:56, 8 o'clock moves into Myrtle. We'll see that get into New Albany about 8:11, 8:18 into Ecru, Pontotoc, 8:27, Saltillo, 8:41, then into Tupelo, 8:46, Shannon, 8:56. So that's the cell there. Now we've got another cell that is just to the south of that, and that is outside our coverage area. It was for a portion of Panola County. Lafayette County, you're still dealing with it a little bit, but it looks like it is pushing south. That's going to move on out of the area. Bruce, Mississippi, you've got some pretty heavy rain. I want to go ahead and put a track on that anyway. We're on our digital platform, so here's a cool thing about that. Anybody in northern Mississippi, really anybody in the world can watch us right now, but for folks who are in North Mississippi, just outside our coverage area, I want to go ahead and give you your first alert to these storms as they're moving on through. Some indications of hail, let's check it out because, yeah, this was producing some very heavy hail or large hail as it was moving through Panola County earlier this evening, right around an inch. Yeah, indications right around an inch, maybe an inch and a quarter in size. Southeastern Lafayette County, right around an inch and a quarter in size. Very heavy rain associated with this. Wind, not that big of a concern. I think we're getting some pretty good gusts along the leading edge, but I've had no reports. And Gabe, have you seen any reports of wind damage?
I have. There's been a few in West Tennessee.
Okay, so a couple of reports. I'm gonna and maybe we can pop up the LSRs, the local storm reports, in a
We sure
moment.
can,
I'll come
yeah.
back to you in just a minute. Let me
Okay.
put a track on this, and then we'll come back to you in just a sec. So right now, rainfall rates right around an inch per hour. With that, even though it's outside our coverage area, let's track it. This is the cell right here. Whoops. Let's do that. Put a track on this right here, south and east. So Bruce, 7:56, Pittsboro, 8:02, Reed, 8:06, Calhoun City, 8:16. Then it's going to move into Parkersburg at 8:26, 8:27 into Houston. We'll see it move into Woodland at 8:37 and into Treblock at 8:43. Just to the north of that, another cell, severe thunderstorm warned for Chickasaw, Lafayette, Lee, and Pontotoc counties. Again, just outside our coverage area, but I want to give folks that are watching online or on our streaming platforms a first alert as to what's going on here. First of all, let's look at it for lightning. 57 strikes of lightning within that cell itself. Hail potential, maybe some small hail still holding together in there. That's what we were looking at earlier, right around an inch in size. It is certainly producing a tremendous amount of rainfall. As a matter of fact, it's coming down close to 2 inches per hour. So the potential for flooding certainly exists there. Spectrum width, this is turbulence within the atmosphere. I see a little bit that's making its way out of Lafayette County, not a question mark there, but this little area right here, it's that little orange and white, that's what we're looking for. By the way, we're also looking at this from the Columbus radar site, which is in closer proximity. That gives us a better view of what's going on there. So now with that, let's put a track on this, show you where it's going within the next few minutes. Here we go. Push it to the south and east. I'll take it on into Aberdeen in case anyone's watching us from there. Pontotoc, 7:59, 8:03 into New Holka. Then it moves into Van Fleet at 8:14. Okolona, 8:24. Nettleton, 8:35. Wren, 8:38. Amory, 8:49. And Hatley, 8:55. So that is your first alert as to what is moving there. I'm going to move a little farther to the north and to the east. That's where we got another severe thunderstorm warning. This is for, again, just outside our coverage area, but I'll go ahead and put a track on it anyway. Let me clear this off. A lot going on, a lot of overlapping warnings here. This one now for Lee, Pontotoc, and Union counties. Very heavy rainfall within that. Let's put a loop, show you where that's going to, how that's moving, because there's more heavy rain that's coming in behind it. This is really the leading edge for Tupelo. So they're getting their first round now, right there along 22. They're going to be impacted by another cell here that comes in behind that. Then there's another one back here that comes in behind that. So that increases the flooding potential for that area. So with that said, let's put another track on, tell you what, I'll just track this from here and we'll take that on into Tupelo. So Saltillo 802, Pontotoc 803, Tupelo 810, Verona 819, 828 into Fulton, 834 into Van Buren, 839 into Carsville, 841 before it moves into Tremont. Now let me get back into our coverage area. I want to look more specifically at Benton, Marshall, and Tippah County because we've got some activity here that is very intense indeed. Heavy rain, looks like there's a lot of hail in there too. As a matter of fact, even the radar having a tough time discerning what to paint here. Let me check this out for hail first of all. I think there's some big hail right in there. Yeah, there has certainly been a path of it, right around 1 inch to 1.5 inches in size, and pretty consistent with 1.5 inches along and south of Highway 22. Very heavy rainfall indeed associated with that and still coming down pretty good, about 1.5 inches per hour. What about hail or lightning in here? And there is a lot of lightning just within this. Here we go, 194 strikes. We've also got overlapping, I think there are what, 3? I see 1, 2, so I got a warning here, I got a polygon here, I got a polygon here. I'm trying to figure out, Sergey, these overlapping polygons. So here we go. So we've got one for Lafayette, Marshall, that's going to go until 8. Then Benton, Lafayette, Pontotoc, Union, that goes until 8:30. So these are the polygons that are flashing right here. And then there is another. So these are the 2 polygons right here, the severe thunderstorm warning there. Let me zoom out, take a look at the big picture. Sergey Galindo, I'm coming to you. I want to see what you're looking at this afternoon. And if we have anything else that has transpired in the way of strong to severe storms that I really don't see it. Things are starting to materialize a little better for us. All of our southern county, our northern counties, I think if you're north of I-40, you're in the clear. Northern Mississippi, that's the convergence zone. That's where the stronger storms are tonight. Sergey, what are you looking at?
Yeah, I'm looking at the same thing. You know, we're seeing a lot of heavy rain over Tate County in particular, a good portion of the county covered with heavy rain. And then you look back off to the west and there's more heavy rain coming that way. So certainly concerning when it comes to the potential for some flash flooding right in this area. So just to the east of Tunica, right around Coldwater, Senatobia, we'll have to watch this area, especially for the potential for some flash flooding. Now, going to clear that off and we're going to click on that skid marker there, Storm Center Identification Tracker. And again, still looking at some hail. The one thing I have been noticing, though, is as we're getting closer to sunset, some of these storms are starting to lose a little bit of punch. Still strong, but not quite as strong as we were just about a half hour ago. So now I'm noticing that hail is still 100%, but that chance for severe hail, that has dropped significantly over this cell in Tunica County, and radar estimating just about 1/2 inch of hail within that storm. When we track it and show you where it's going, it's going to be headed toward Crockett around 8:06, Coldwater at 8:18, Senatobia already dealing with the rain. Here comes another big batch of rain that's going to impact you at around 8:18. And again, watching especially central Tate County for the potential for some flash flooding. Newtown 8:02, 8:24, Senatobia Lakes 8:28, Antioch right around 8:30. So we are seeing these things coming down a little bit in intensity, but still pretty intense nonetheless. Also watching an area right here just in the northeast corner of Lafayette County, looking at some hail there. Hail size estimated to be 1.5 inches. And right now the radar is picking up on some rotation. Could be some broad rotation right here in Lafayette County. It's kind of pushing outside of our viewing area, but we'll certainly watch that area for you. When it comes to hail within that particular cell that's moving out of Lafayette County and toward the east, looking at 100% chance for hail. That's been the case for a lot of these storms throughout the day, and a 70% chance with that particular cell. The hail size estimated to be around 1.5 inches. So still seeing some pretty strong storms moving through portions of Lafayette County. Now that's all off to the east of Oxford and moving outside of our viewing area. The bigger picture, again, still has some heavy rain tracking into eastern Arkansas, right around Forest City, still getting in on some heavy rain. That's all moving down toward the south and east. So as Ron has been talking about, North Mississippi becoming sort of that convergence zone, as we're going to see more rain moving into some of the same areas that already dealt with some rain. Now let's take a look at the big picture and show you some of the reports that we've gotten. So many exclamation points on the board. A lot of these are hail, but we did get a few for thunderstorm wind damage. Notice Germantown dealt with that earlier today. That report coming in at around 6:38. So some thunderstorm wind damage there, and had 2 reports back across portions of eastern Arkansas right around Mark Tree for some thunderstorm wind damage. So there have been far and few in between, but we have gotten just a few. Most of the reports that you're seeing on the board, it's all been about hail. Ron?
Wow. Hey, Sergey, one of those hail signatures or one of those LSRs down around DeSoto County, did they mention the size of the hail?
Well, on the reports from the National Weather Service, there was some reports of quarter-size hail. There was reports of, remember, egg-size hail.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was in Horn
I'd not
Lake,
seen that
Mississippi.
before.
Hadn't seen that before either,
Yeah.
but that was a report. So far, that's what we've been getting.
We've had golf ball, ping pong ball.
Yeah.
And then there's softball size, baseball size. I've never seen egg size.
That's pretty big
But
hail.
I mean, an egg would kind of fall somewhere between a golf ball, ping pong ball,
Yeah, I love that
not
description.
quite softball.
Yeah,
Egg,
gives you a
egg.
nice visual.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, one other thing I want to ask you about, let's go back to your map, Sergey, because I saw a shear marker that was right there on the Lafayette.
Yeah,
looks like
that
it
was the
on
one that I was talking
Lafayette
about.
Union
Yeah,
County
some rotation.
border. Nothing significant though, right?
No, nothing significant. In fact, it just disappeared on me. So I think that was just some quick spin up, a little bit of rotation there, and it's actually moving outside of our coverage area.
We have been very fortunate with the wind and tornado threat today.
Oh, yeah.
These have been hailers and heavy rainmakers. This is the active picture right now. Northern Mississippi really bearing the brunt of this. Still watching a little activity that's making its way along in south of I-40 in eastern Arkansas. But I want to show you something interesting. This is where the rain has fallen today, the majority of the rainfall. There have been many parts of the Mid-South that have not seen a drop of rainfall this afternoon. Now, this will update within the next hour or so, but heavier precipitation back to the west. Radar estimates of about an inch and anywhere from an inch to an inch and a quarter. But I think when it's all said and done, we're going to find out that we had areas of possibly 2, 3, maybe even close to 4 inches of rain in some parts of the Mid-South. It hasn't even really finished raining here, and I'm already getting some indication right around northeastern Lafayette County of close to 3 inches of rain there. Again, radar estimated rainfall, but you can see where that convergence zone was and where the bulk of the activity came from. It was almost training echoes. We talked about that earlier, and that is basically just a line of rain and storms following one right after the other, thus really enhancing the flooding potential. So the severe weather threat has certainly been there today, but now as we head into the evening, heavy rain still falling, the threat for flooding exists. And as we head into the nighttime hours, that flooding potential can really create some problems. So one of the things I want to throw out to you is we always say, turn around, don't drown. If you are out this evening and you approach a road that is covered by water, I want you to turn around. Do not try to cross that, because some of the currents of that water, you don't know what's under it. And it may have washed that road away that was once there. That water may be deeper than you think. Just turn around, find an alternate route. Right now, let's look at this activity because it's still coming down pretty quickly, but it is rapidly moving out of the coverage area, and that's a good thing to see. We're still watching what's coming in from the northwest back behind all of this, but the activity itself now starting to make a push south and east, and that's going to take it on out of the coverage area. We want to keep a close eye on these storms that are moving through Phillips, Lee County, coming through Coahoma County, but really not showing the same dynamics of the storms that we saw that were basically to our south and east earlier today. And right now, as we take a look, yes, we have several severe thunderstorm warnings out there, but the picture itself is starting to shape up and look a little better. We're still seeing a lot of counties included in the severe thunderstorm watch. That includes Memphis and Shelby County. I do believe our severe threat here in the city of Memphis and Shelby County has decreased significantly. I won't say it is zero for the rest of the night because just my luck, a warning will be issued, but I really think things are much better from Memphis north. It's really into northern Mississippi and for areas in eastern Arkansas south of that I-40 corridor. So that's what we're watching this evening. That's a look at our first alert Doppler radar. A lot of activity out there tonight, and there's still heavy rain and thunderstorm activity falling. So let's get right back to it. Let's put some tracks on there. I do want to zoom in once again for the city of Memphis and Shelby County. Conrad, are you still on the desk there, or is it Deja? Deja, our directors, they switch out from time to time. They're fabulous, and they've been keeping up with me all night long. Deja, I'm going to ask if you can find a couple of camera views. And let's look from our Midtown camera and let's look at our downtown camera because I want to show. Do you have the Midtown camera? I do. I tell you what, I think I can pull that up on Segay's computer really quick. Let me do that first. Here we go. And there it is. That's Midtown Memphis looking to the west. You can see the rain shaft from the storm that is just to our east. It looks like there's another one, or just to our west, excuse me. It looks like there's another one just to the south of that. So a couple of the areas we're watching, but that is a look at it right now. Midtown Memphis looking lovely. Deja, do you have the downtown camera? Is that available yet? All right, she's going to pull that up, and I want you to take a look at that because it is a totally different tale here in the city of Memphis. And that's why we're with you tonight on our digital platform, our most heavily populated county here in the area, experiencing nothing more than dry conditions, some lovely sky colors. And yeah, we've had our share of rain around the city, but we're not looking at life-threatening weather. And at the same time, the bulk of the Memphis metro is rather calm at this time. So we're in pretty good shape, but a different story down in northern Mississippi, and that's where we're seeing very heavy rain and thunderstorms, and that's why we're with you on our digital platforms this evening. We don't want to interrupt your programming on the television station itself, but we have the new technology now that allows us to broadcast to you from 5.5, our Action News 5 Plus on digital, also Amazon, Apple TV, and Roku, the Action News 5 app there. We're also on Facebook and on YouTube tonight. So multiple platforms. I think a lot of people have waited a long time for us to be able to get to this point. And so we are utilizing that tonight to still bring you extensive severe weather coverage, wall-to-wall coverage as we call it, but at the same time, not interrupt your programming, especially for people from Memphis North, where it is a calm and tranquil night tonight. But for those of you that are riding the storm out tonight, let's get back to it, shall we? Because it's still moving through and it's still packing a punch as it makes its way through the area, mainly in the form of heavy rain. We've had some wind reports with this, but rain and hail have been the main concern, and it continues to make its way outside the Action News 5 coverage area as it moves off to the south and east with just a few more cells coming in behind it. So right now, that's what we're looking at. We're in great shape. I'm very encouraged by what I'm seeing as we head into the remainder of the evening hours, but there's still a lot of severe weather occurring out there, and we have several severe thunderstorm warnings still in existence as well. We'll run through them quickly one more time. This one to the west, that will expire at 8:30, so another 20 minutes on that one. We've got one severe thunderstorm warning that is also in effect for Lafayette County, Benton, Pontotoc and Union counties, that too until 8:30 tonight. Then just to the south and east of that, severe thunderstorm warnings starting to make their way outside our coverage area. Calhoun, Chickasaw, Lafayette, Pontotoc till 8:45 tonight. Then just to the east and northeast of that for Chickasaw, Lafayette, Lee, and Pontotoc counties, that too goes until 8:30 tonight. No severe thunderstorm warnings here in Memphis and Shelby County, but we're likely to get a little more rain as this moves on through. And as a matter of fact, as we take a quick look at our camera from Midtown right now, I believe downtown, is that the camera we were looking at, Daisha, we wanted to see? That is downtown Memphis tonight. Looking absolutely lovely, a little blue, but other than that, not bad at all here in the city of Memphis. There is some rain just to the west of the Mississippi River. As we go back to our first alert Doppler radar, let's check it out and let's put a track on it because this is the cell we're watching right now. We'll put this into motion for you. We are going to get some more rain in Memphis, but just rain. This is not severe. And then this cell showing signs of weakening as it pushes to the southeast. But I want to track this for you and give you an idea of when that rain's going to move into Memphis because I'll track that from that leading line, south and east. Proctor, 822. You're going to get some light to moderate rain. Then Marion, 834. West Memphis, 836. Memphis, just before 9 o'clock, we're going to get just some rain. Then Hernando, 907, rain. 908, Germantown, 820, Collierville, 832. That will move into Oakland. Now we still have this little area that is still packing a punch. That little area right here. This is still, it's just outside the polygon now. I'm wondering if that warning is going to be allowed to expire, which would be great. There's still a lot of lightning in that, I do believe. As a matter of fact, it's coming through Forest City. 48 strikes of lightning in there. The warning itself, it's moved outside of the warning. It's going to expire in another 2 minutes anyway. We'll be interested to see if they extend that warning. Let's check it out. But nonetheless, let's put a track on it and show you where it's going. Very heavy rainfall, but it looks like it is just rain. Tracking that south and east, that's going to take that into Hughes at 816, 825 into Mariana, 836 it will move into Walls, then Tunica 852, 857 into Hernando, 909 into Coldwater, 919 it will move into Senatobia, and 932 it will get into Mariana. So that's what we're looking at with that cell. Now let me clear that off. Let's make a push to the south and east. Whoops. Let me clear that one more time. Here we go. Now, let me make a push to the south and east. We've got this one little polygon here. And that's been really condensed. Let's take a look. That should expire at 8:30, I think. Yeah. So Panola and Tate County, that's set to expire at 8:30 tonight. It's still producing a lot of lightning. So there's a tremendous amount of lightning just within that cell, 75 strikes. What about hail indications? Not really seeing much in the way of maybe some small hail in eastern Tate County. Looks like it's less than an inch in size, but it's rainfall. Heavy rain coming down with this. And as a matter of fact, really all along southern Tate County into southern Marshall County, northern Panola County, very heavy rainfall. Right there along 55. If anybody's driving down 55 right now, they are likely dealing with just whiteout conditions as a result of the very heavy rain. There's probably a gust of wind associated with that as well, especially to the south of it. But very heavy rain coming down in there. And again, the likelihood of some hail with it. Let's check out the spectrum width. This is turbulence, and I'm seeing a pretty good amount. Turbulence right there. Let me zoom into that. Turbulence is also something I use, or spectrum width as it's called meteorologically. It's turbulence to you. It's where we've got warm and cold air rising, falling and rising and coming together. So this is a little area right here. And when I see something like that, that is my cue to check out what the velocity is doing in that area. In other words, is there rotation? And what this is, that is a gust of wind. Yeah, that is a very strong gust of wind right there. So I think we got a pretty strong wind that's coming in from that. Again, looking at the spectrum width, pretty good turbulence with it. You can even almost see it pushing to the south and east. I'll overlay the scope on this. No rotation. I don't think we're looking at rotation in there, maybe some broad scale rotation, but I think really what we're likely looking at is a wet microburst, a result of the very heavy rainfall that's coming down right here. And as it just hits the ground and spreads out, it's bringing down with it not only the rain, maybe even some hail in there too, but it's also bringing a column of air with it. So as that column of air rushes down aloft, very cold aloft, coming down, hits the ground, spreads out, you could have some straight line wind damage with that. And again, maybe even a little hail too. Let's take a look. Let me track this because that's moving off to the south, southeast, and pretty quickly too. I'm going to track that from that leading edge. Well, I'll tell you what, let me do this. By the way, I'm analyzing this live on air. And typically, we'll sit at the desk, we'll just look at every different parameter of this from every different angle, tilt it, and just take a look at what's in there. But right now, what I want to do is just analyze its movement, the basic characteristics of this, and most importantly, where it's going. So with this, we can see it's moving in that direction, southeast. That's going to take that right through Sardis Lake. So now let's put a track right there on this. That's that heavier precipitation. It's moving to the south and the east at about 40 miles per hour. Blakely School, 821. It'll move into Glenville, 823. Then into Blackjack School, 829. Techville, 830. 837 to Burgess. 841 into Aylesville. We'll see it move into the University of Oxford at 845. 847, it should get into the town of Oxford. So that's what we're looking at with that cell itself. Now, let me zoom out. Let's take a look at the big picture because a lot of this is now starting to exit the Action News 5 coverage area and converge right there around northeast Mississippi, taking this into the Tupelo area. We've got a pretty good cell that's just to the south of Coahoma County. Let me zoom into that. Or I'll tell you what, I'm going to pan this down just a little bit here. Let's take a look one more time, big picture, all right? Where it is, where it's going. So this is the area. It's really starting to converge right now on Tupelo. I think the severe weather dynamics are pushing south of our area. We're looking at rain. Folks in northeast Arkansas, if you're along in west of or north of the I-40 corridor in West Tennessee, you're in the clear. And really, I think the counties that border Mississippi and West Tennessee are in the clear. Technically, you're still under the severe thunderstorm watch until 10 o'clock tonight, but the stormy weather is really now starting to converge right here in this area. That's where it's going to go, right there. So, try that one more time. This little area right here. That's where it's all going to go. It's going to continue pushing. That's going to take that on into Alabama as it continues to ride down Highway 22. But for us, a much, much calmer pattern emerging as we get on into the overnight hours. But wow, rainfall rates or rainfall amounts, pretty impressive. Just over 2¼ inches, or right around 2¼ inches of rainfall estimated there, close to 3 inches. Just to the east of Heber Springs and just to the west of Cross County. As a matter of fact, in western Cross County, west of Wynne, radar estimates of about 1.5 inches per rain. Memphis, not sure the official amount yet, just to our south in South Haven, about 1.5 inches of rainfall. That was Doppler radar indicated. Also right there around Haywood, Fayette, and Hardeman County, close to 2 inches of rain. So this gives you an idea of where the heavier precipitation fell. And then there were areas that didn't get a drop of rain. Northern Benton County, parts of Tippah County, even southern, looks like southern Fayette County, didn't get much at all. And there were parts of Memphis and Shelby County that didn't get any rain today. Again, this is NEXRAD indicated rainfall, but We're taking a look here at the big picture. First alert Doppler radar right now showing the stronger storms really starting to move out, clear on out of the coverage area. Whoops, I'm putting a track on here. I didn't want to do that. Let me clear this out of here. What I wanted to do was zoom into that area, show you again what's going on down there. This is the activity we have right now. Most of the severe thunderstorms outside of northern Mississippi. We've got this area right here. One severe thunderstorm warning that remains for Lafayette County, Pontotoc, and Union County until 8:30 tonight. We've got the smaller polygon just to the west of that. That too goes until 8:30 tonight. So about another 9 minutes, I'm looking at those warnings impacting the Action News 5 coverage area. This warning down here that is for Calhoun, Chickasaw, Lafayette, Pontotoc till 8:45, and that's only for a very small portion of Lafayette County. And really, the severe weather threat has exited Lafayette County in regard to that polygon itself. But a look at the big picture once again. Let me zoom out here. Things are looking much, much better. I do want to take a quick look at this cell that's south of Coahoma County. That's outside our area, but man, that storm is looking nasty. And we're tapping into that now from the Little Rock radar back to the west. That's going to give us our better view of this. First, I want to look at the hail potential with it. Wow, just to the west of Shelby. Look at that, just over 2¼ inch in size. Now, this is radar estimated hail. All right, we're hitting that from a pretty good distance, but if we're hitting that right around 3,000 to 4,000 feet, it's falling, it's probably still reaching the surface as golf ball size hail. 2½ inches in size, or 2¼ inches in size, about the size of a baseball. That's going to likely be reaching the ground, ping pong to golf ball size hail. It's also likely producing a tremendous amount of wind and turbulence, and yeah, we're seeing a little bit of it right there. I don't think we're seeing anything in the way of rotation with it. We're likely outside of radar view with that either way. Maybe a wet microburst with that. We've got some wind coming down at the surface, could do a little damage there. Rainfall rate itself, pretty impressive, but also skewed by hail, just over 1 inch per hour. Likely at the surface there, and that is outside our Action News 5 coverage area. But man, that is an impressive storm. And the hail or the lightning in that, 209, almost 300 strikes of lightning. By the way, lightning strikes the earth about 30,000 times a day. Every day on the planet Earth, on average, there are 30,000 strikes of lightning. That's a lot, right? Well, there have been storm systems that have moved through the Action News 5 coverage area and through the Mid-South, and that includes all the counties here in our coverage area. I have seen storms produce 30,000 strikes of lightning just on a very small view and a small scale just in this area right here. And right now, just taking a look at the lightning strikes just with the active storms we have here, I'll go ahead and go into Alabama. Look at that. There's almost 1,000 strikes of lightning just within that itself. So that's the big picture right now. That's what we're looking at. Let's see if I can get back to the home view. Zoom in a little tighter, show you what's going on here, a little closer to home in Memphis and around the Mid-South, West Tennessee, Northwest Tennessee. You're in great shape now. Much better shape. Dyer County, Lauderdale County, Tipton County, Haywood, Chester. I'm going to go ahead and say Fayette, Hardeman, McNairy County. Severe weather threat for you is over. But rain is about to move into Memphis and Shelby County. It is not severe. It is just rain. But just to our south, there's some pretty good thunder, lightning working its way through there. As a matter of fact, that little cell that's right there moving through, are about to move through Marianna right now. It's producing 94 strikes of lightning within that itself. Sergey, I think you've even got a track on that. You want
Yeah.
to take a look at it?
I do, yeah. Certainly looking like it's producing hail, just like what we've seen with many of the storms this evening. But yeah, as we put the tracker on it, it's moving toward the south and east at 45 miles per hour. Some of the communities that will be impacted: Council right about 827, Commerce Landing 832, Commerce at 834. If you're in Clack, 837, Hollywood around 840, Banks at 842, Green River at 843, Trinity at 846. And these are some of the communities that were in on heavy rain earlier today. And I think this is certainly going to pose a threat for some flooding, especially as this moves to over northern sections of Tunica County, where they were bombarded with heavy rain and storms just about a half hour ago. And it's eventually going to move into, excuse me, Tate County. And again, just dealing with a lot of heavy rain there that has just moved southward. Now, I think in another half hour or an hour, you're going to be dealing with more heavy rain pushing back across the area. So we're looking at that concern for flooding right in this area from Tunica County to Tate County, and maybe even northern sections of Panola County could be dealing with some flash flooding concerns as this heavy rainfall continues to move back across your area. The good news is, as we put things into motion, you'll notice that with each frame, things are looking a lot better than they did earlier today. So we get to the end of that frame. Most of the storms now, as Ron mentioned, south of the I-40 corridor, it's North Mississippi that continue to deal with the heavy rainfall, but even that is starting to push outside of our viewing area. And we have lost the heating of the day, so that is some good news there. Not seeing as a large of hail in some of these, but again, we still have some storms to contend with. That's moving across the river from eastern Arkansas into North Mississippi. Excuse me, certainly keeping a close eye on those storms as they're continuing to pack a punch with the heavy rainfall and the lightning. Excuse me, Ron, I'm trying to lose my voice here.
You know, I tell you what, this spring season and early summer has caused us all to lose our voices. We've had multiple instances of severe weather extended coverage, and I tell you what, it is tough to talk for a long time. And by the way, Sergey Galindo has worked a double shift today. She started her morning at 3 a.m. and is still going strong tonight. You're going to see her on Action News 5 at 10. But I tell you what, Sergey, with the storms winding down and this really becoming nothing more than a heavy rain, lightning, and small hail maker, I tell you what, and the fact that this is moving outside of the Action News 5 coverage area, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up our coverage tonight. This is going to give us an opportunity to regroup, take a look at what has transpired today, and then recap it all tonight on Action News 5 at 10 p.m., of course, along with the day's news. And we've got crews that are looking and scouting out to see if there was any damage anywhere. And of course, we'll be bringing you those reports as well on Action News 5 at 10. But we'll give Sergey's voice a chance to recuperate before the 10 p.m. newscast tonight, catch a little break, and then we'll keep a close eye on our First Alert Doppler radar. We're not going to let our guard down just yet, but we've got these warnings. This warning will expire. The one for Lafayette County will expire at 8:30. I don't anticipate any additional warnings being issued for the Action News 5 coverage area, but should they be issued, know that they're likely due to heavy rain, some hail, and gusting wind. The Memphis Metro in great shape. We do have some light rain coming into play right now. Some thunder, some lightning may accompany that, but the severe weather threat itself has ended for the city of Memphis and Shelby County, and I do believe all of the counties north of the Action News 5 coverage area. And as a matter of fact, just now, Memphis and Shelby County, all of West Tennessee removed from the severe thunderstorm watch. Most of eastern Arkansas, north of I-40, removed from that as well. Crittenden County, you're still under the gun just as a precaution, I do believe, and I think that's the case for St. Francis counties. We've still got a few storms working their way along the Mississippi River in eastern Arkansas, so as a result, the warnings will remain in place there, or the watch will remain in place there, but no active warnings. And now at 8:30, all the active warnings in place are outside of our coverage area. And with that, we'll take a little break. We will get you back to your regularly scheduled streaming, Facebook surfing, YouTube surfing or what have you, we do invite you to join us back on Action News 5 on Channel 5, as well as Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV for Action News 5 at 10 tonight. I'm meteorologist Ron Childers for Sergey Galindo. Thank you very much for watching. Have a safe night, and know we're keeping a close eye, and if should anything else break out, we'll keep you updated on the air, on the web, and on that First Alert Weather app. I'm meteorologist Ron Childers. See you soon.